True happiness, from a Buddhist perspective, isn't something we chase after like a finish line. It's not hiding in the next job, the next relationship, or the next big purchase. Instead, it's something we uncover by letting go of the layers of craving, expectation, and illusion that cloud our minds. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises when we grasp for things to make us happy, believing that external conditions will fill an internal emptiness. Imagine holding water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. This is how happiness behaves when we cling too tightly. The pursuit itself, this endless running after sensory pleasures or future achievements, often leads to more exhaustion than satisfaction. True happiness lives in the letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on life or withdrawing from the world. It means loosening the inner knots of attachment. It means realizing that happiness was never far away. It was simply buried under layers of wanting things to be different. So, the first step in understanding true happiness, according to Buddhism, is a radical shift. Stop chasing. Let go of the belief that happiness exists somewhere out there. Turn inward. Notice the space that opens up when you release the need for things to go your way. That's where happiness begins to breathe. According to the Buddha, the real thief of our happiness is suffering, and at the core of that suffering are three deeply rooted mental habits: attachment, craving, and aversion. These aren't just abstract ideas. They show up in daily life as the constant need to have what we want, avoid what we fear, and cling to what we love, hoping it won't change. But everything changes. Craving, tanha in Pali, is the never-ending thirst for pleasure, for approval, for certainty. Even when we get what we want, the satisfaction is short-lived. A new desire quickly takes its place. It's like drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. Aversion is its mirror image. It's our resistance to discomfort, our need to push away what feels unpleasant. We suffer not only because painful things happen, but because we mentally scream, "This shouldn't be happening," when they do. That scream is where suffering multiplies. Attachment is the glue that binds it all. We attach to ideas, identities, outcomes, and people, thinking they'll complete us. But in a world of impermanence, attachment always carries the seeds of sorrow. The Buddha didn't point this out to be pessimistic. He taught it to liberate us. When we see these roots clearly, we can stop feeding them. We can begin to unlearn the habit of suffering, and that unlearning is where happiness truly begins. Happiness, in the Buddhist sense, isn't found in grand achievements or future promises. It's found here, right now, in this very breath, this very step, this very moment. The present moment is simple, but we complicate it with stories, regrets, and fears. We replay the past or worry about what's next, missing the only place where happiness can actually exist. Here. Mindfulness, sati, is the gateway. It invites us to pause and notice what's real. The warmth of the sun on your skin. The sensation of your feet touching the ground. The quiet between your thoughts. When we meet the present without resistance, even ordinary moments become luminous. This doesn't mean life will suddenly be free of difficulty. But it does mean we stop adding mental suffering on top of what already is. When we're fully present, joy can arise naturally, even in simple things like washing dishes or sipping tea. Many people wait for conditions to align before they allow themselves to feel happy. Buddhism flips this. Happiness is available the moment we drop resistance to reality. It's less about changing the world and more about changing how we meet it. When we soften our grip on how things should be, and show up fully for how things are, contentment begins to bloom on its own. True happiness, then, is not in having more, it's in needing less. One of the most liberating teachings in Buddhism is the understanding of impermanence, anicca in Pali. Everything we experience, joy, sorrow, success, failure, health, sickness, is in a constant state of change. Nothing stays fixed, and nothing can be held onto forever. At first, this realization can feel unsettling. We might resist it, wanting to hold tightly to the people and things we love. But with time and practice, impermanence becomes a doorway to freedom. When we truly see that all things come and go, we stop clinging so desperately. We start to savor each moment for what it is, knowing it won't last. This doesn't mean we become cold or detached. On the contrary, we begin to love more fully, because we're no longer distracted by the fear of loss. We cherish moments without trying to freeze them in time. A sunset is beautiful because it fades. A laugh with a friend is precious because it ends. Impermanence also teaches us that pain won't last forever. Even the most difficult emotions, when held with mindful awareness, eventually pass. Just like storm clouds move across the sky, sadness, anger, and fear come and go. By embracing impermanence, we stop fighting the natural flow of life. In this letting go, space opens up for peace, for gratitude, and for a happiness that doesn't depend on controlling the uncontrollable. Happiness in Buddhism isn't just about personal peace. It naturally expands outward into compassion. When we stop obsessing over our own cravings and aversions, we begin to notice others more clearly. Their joys, their pain, their struggles, they become real to us in a way they weren't before. Compassion, karu, isn't pity. It's a sincere wish for others to be free from suffering. It's the softening of the heart that happens when we recognize that everyone, in their own way, is trying to be happy, just like us. This recognition creates a deep connection that becomes a wellspring of joy. Acts of kindness, no matter how small, bring immediate warmth to the heart. A smile to a stranger. A few words of encouragement. Listening without interrupting. These moments shift our focus away from self-centered desires and toward shared humanity. Buddhism teaches that one of the greatest sources of true happiness is relieving the suffering of others. This doesn't mean solving everyone's problems. Sometimes, it simply means being present, offering understanding, or extending patience. When compassion becomes part of how we move through the world, happiness grows deeper. It's not the fleeting rush that comes from personal achievement. It's a quiet, steady joy that arises each time we act with care and empathy. True happiness, then, isn't something we hoard. It's something we share, and the more we give it, the more it grows. In the heart of Buddhist philosophy lies the middle way, a path of balance and wisdom. The Buddha himself discovered this after years of extreme practices. He realized that neither indulgence in pleasure nor harsh self-denial leads to true happiness. Both are traps that pull us away from peace. The middle way invites us to find a balanced approach to life. It means eating enough, but not excessively. Resting when needed, but not falling into laziness. Enjoying what life offers, but without attachment. Practicing discipline, but without punishing ourselves. This balance doesn't come from following rigid rules. It comes from mindful observation. We learn to notice, when am I pushing too hard? When am I giving up too easily? When am I seeking escape through distractions? Slowly, we recalibrate. Wisdom, prajna, guides this process. Through meditation, reflection, and ethical living, we develop clarity. We begin to see how our actions and thoughts shape our happiness. Instead of reacting blindly, we pause. We choose what nourishes us, not just what feels good in the moment. The middle way is a lifelong practice. Some days we'll lean too far in one direction. That's okay. Awareness brings us back. Over time, we discover that happiness isn't found at the extremes. It's found in walking the steady path between them, where kindness, clarity, and balance meet. In this middle ground, joy takes root, not as a fleeting mood, but as a grounded state of being. Non-attachment is often misunderstood. People hear it and imagine cold detachment, emotional distance, or not caring about anything at all. But in Buddhism, non-attachment doesn't mean shutting down your heart. It means loving fully, without clinging. When we care for someone, non-attachment allows us to love them as they are, without trying to control them or fearing their loss at every turn. It's about holding people and experiences with open hands, not clenched fists. We can savor a beautiful sunset without wishing it would last forever. We can enjoy a friendship without demanding it meet all our emotional needs. Non-attachment also applies to our own emotions and thoughts. Feelings of joy, sadness, anger, they all arise and pass. When we stop identifying with every mental state, we create space. Space to respond instead of react. Space to breathe. This is a profound kind of happiness. It's the happiness that comes from freedom. Freedom from needing things to be a certain way to feel okay. Freedom from emotional roller coasters triggered by every small gain or loss. Non-attachment doesn't make us indifferent. It makes us wise and deeply compassionate. It helps us stay present with others, with life, without getting swept away by our cravings and fears. Ultimately, non-attachment is love in its purest form. Love that doesn't grasp, that doesn't control, that simply allows. And in that allowing, true happiness quietly blooms. At the heart of Buddhist happiness lies something unshakable, an inner peace that remains steady, even when life becomes turbulent. This is not the fragile happiness that depends on good weather, kind words, or things going according to plan. It's a peace that stays, even when circumstances fall apart. This inner refuge comes from seeing reality clearly. We begin to understand that suffering and joy, gain and loss, praise and blame, all of it will come and go like waves on the ocean. But beneath the surface, there is stillness. There is awareness. And in that awareness, there is freedom. Meditation helps us touch this space. Sitting quietly, watching the breath, noticing thoughts arise and fade, we start to realize we are not our thoughts. We are not even our passing emotions. There's something deeper, the simple, quiet presence that observes it all. This peace doesn't mean life stops being painful. Loved ones may still get sick. Plans may still crumble. But our relationship to those events changes. We meet them with clarity, with softness, with an open heart that doesn't collapse at every turn. Buddhist happiness, then, isn't about avoiding pain. It's about resting in the middle of it all, knowing that underneath every high and low, there's a place inside untouched by the storm. A place where peace lives, not because life is perfect, but because we've learned how to let go. So now, as you sit here, breathing softly, let this all settle. Let the words drift like leaves on a stream, nothing to hold, nothing to push away. Just let them pass. What remains, beneath every teaching, every insight, is this simple truth. You don't have to chase happiness anymore. It's not in the next achievement, the next purchase, the next relationship, or even in becoming the perfect version of yourself. It's right here, in this breath, in this body that's alive, in this moment, exactly as it is. Feel the ground beneath you. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. Let your shoulders soften. Happiness is not some distant peak to climb. It's a quiet unfolding, a gentle return to the present, again and again. If there's sadness, let it be here without resistance. If there's joy, let it fill you without clinging. Both will pass. Both are welcome. This is the heart of Buddhist happiness. Not a mood, not a fleeting feeling, but an abiding sense that no matter what comes, you have the capacity to meet it with presence and care. You've walked through the roots of suffering, the pull of craving, the dance of impermanence. You've touched compassion, balance, and the tender power of letting go. And now, here you are, closer to peace than you may realize. So rest for a moment. Let this stillness wrap around you like a soft blanket. Tomorrow will come with its own challenges, its own beauty. But tonight, in this pause, let there be no need to fix anything, chase anything, or change anything. Just breathe. And know, true happiness was never far away. It was always here, quietly waiting beneath the noise.